Effect. When you close with me, they will sign 3 times that only an attorney talked to them about finance. Actually, one of them's initial, the initial. 3 times they've been advised of that. They got no issue with it.
What's the ancillary activity that's going on there?
I'm representing you and doing all the documents.
And this is just one.
Yeah, truly I don't do anything in addition to what I normally do. Yes?
Is the contract generated by you as well?
Yeah. It comes off our website.
Okay.
We have, you're jumping ahead, we're going to get to that in a minute. I had to debate whether I was going to talk about it now or talk about it later, but then technically I'm not really good at this, so the fact is we'll talk about it a little bit. Okay? What about the new act I heard about called the Dodd-Frank Act? Federal government, Federal Reserve Board, and the new Consumer Financial Protection Bureau proposed rules that could change the way some investors do business and make us do your closings even more important. They proposed, ooh, I got to flash there, almost. Here's what Dodd-Frank, the regulations did. It requires that before any residential loan can be made, that the lender verify that the borrower has the ability to repay the loan, or write only certain kinds of loans. Well, how can you do this if you can't take an application? Here's how you do it with our contracts. In our contract, we have a provision. It's called possession, and it tells when possession is going to be given of the property. I will tell you this, and I want you to listen to this very carefully. I want you to consider, capital C-O-N-S-I-D-E-R, consider giving them early possession. I did not say I want you to give them early possession. I said I want you to consider it. And there's a box you check. One says upon closing and funding. The other box says pursuant to a temporary lease. I want you to consider doing it pursuant to a temporary lease. Why? Because you can take a lease application. Okay? Whenever I talk about this, it reminds me of the Monty Python skit with the cat license. And it involved a discussion about cat licenses. And it's like, cats don't need to be licensed. Yes, they do. Well, who told you that? Well, the man from the cat detector band. Show me that license. Here. This isn't a cat license. This is a dog license with the word dog crossed out and the word cat written in crayon. So, don't do a loan application. Cross it out and write lease in crayon. Okay? So now you know everything you want to know about it. What do the regulations say? Regulations say you got to verify income, employment, monthly payment, simultaneous loans, mortgage-related charges, current debt, debt-to-income ratio, credit history. Holy crap, that's a lot of stuff. Or you can originate a qualified mortgage without having to verify all of that. So the next question is, what's a qualified mortgage? Well, you can't have negative amortization, you can't have interest only, you can't have a balloon payment, you can't go longer than 30 years, you can't charge more than 3 points, you verify the income or assets. How much do you make? Thank you. Underwriting has to be based on the maximum interest rate in the first 5 years if it's variable. That's a qualified loan. I don't do many. I mean, literally, my clients have only done about, the only thing that I've deviated, that I will generally deviate from that on, is the balloon payment. I have some clients who want that balloon payment in there. I have actually deviated a little bit on the no term longer than 30 years. I have a 70-year-old woman who just wrote a 54-year loan. God love her, but I've known her for about 20 years. She was road hard and put away wet 20 years ago. She ain't going to see the end of that one. But God love her. So, okay? So how do you qualify your buyer? It depends on the terms of the deal. Really? Yeah, it does. If I have a 420 credit score, would you loan me money? Really? You want to see? I bet you will. Would you loan me money on a house? Tell me more. Give me a price of a house.
You just asked if I loaned you
I
money.
know. Give me a price of a house. What do you got for sale?
1.2.
1.2 million, okay? You don't think you'll loan me money on that on that 420 credit score? What if I put $1 million down on that property? Will you loan me money then for the other 200,000? Even though I have a 420 credit score? In a heartbeat. So it depends on the terms of the deal. Use the possession standard section of the standard master agreement. That's what we call it. It's not a standard agreement. It's not a master agreement. It is a standard master agreement. To consider, see, consider is underlined in bold, okay? Providing early possession, and then take a lease application. That's Dodd-Frank. Why do I think Dodd-Frank is cool? Here's why. Unintended consequences. What are they doing if they're going to make you qualify with verify all those things? Is lending going to get easier or harder? If lending's going to get harder, are people going to be able to get loans?
No.
If people can't get loans, can they buy houses?
No.
If people can't buy houses, can other people sell houses? No. Unless you're doing sub-2 or owner finance, right? This is golden. I mean, they are guaranteeing that you're going to be in business if you know how to do subject to correctly. And when the Dodd-Frank regulations came out, I got probably 5 emails a day that said that this was going to end life as we know it. Thank you, Chicken Little, but I read it and figured it out. We'll write qualified mortgages. Oh, gee, we can't put a balloon in. You know what? That's actually a benefit. Because when your seller says, I need to get off of this, I don't want to be on this loan for the next 25 years, you could say, I'm sorry, there's nothing we can do about it. The federal government says we can't put a balloon in the loan. So, do you really want to go to foreclosure, or do you want me to buy this house?
Substance over 4 issues qualified. I mean, you cross out and say it's a lease application.
Mm-hmm.
The substance is you bought hundreds of houses and you
Mm-hmm.
sold them. And the
Mm-hmm.
substance is you not doing a lease.
Oh, that's, yeah, but I can tell you of people that do. I want you to consider it. You just haven't found anybody you want to give them early possession. Because, hey, it was just easier to sell it to them. Okay? And you know, I mean, taking the global world of investors, I have people who don't actually sell the house. They buy the house sub too, and then rent it out. Because they're God knows why they want to be a landlord, but they do. So that's what they're doing. So we have people that do actually do early possession.
So if you have a few of those sprinkled around, then the substances.
Well, you can always ask me, because I can give you names of 100 people that do it. So, you know, the fact that you just didn't have the right people to do it to, you know, doesn't mean it's invalid. I mean, we have the people. Okay? So these people are saying, you know, we've got to get out. We can't do subject to, we can't do subject to. Gee, if you're the only person in Santa Barbara that knows how to do subject to correctly, do you think that's a competitive advantage over every other investor that's here? Yeah. Hell yes. Absolutely. Any questions on that?
Is everything you said apply to California equally?
Yes.
As it does in Texas?
Yes.
The SIG Act I thought was specific. I know there's a federal law, but isn't it?
The federal law says you're going to be under our system unless you enact the SAFE Act. Okay? And every state enacted the SAFE Act. The same thing.
Enacted a little bit differently.
Yes, they did.
But what
Yes,
he
they
told us
did.
is common all.
Every one of them has attorneys as an exemption. Well, welcome to my world, okay? It's professional courtesy, we protect our own, okay? You have more lawyers here than we do in the rest of the country, so we definitely know that it's in California.
Question.
Yes, sir.
I'm not clear what you're recommending with how we verify the buyer's wherewithal to make the monthly payment.
All you have to verify is income.
So can
Give
you
me a
specific?
W-2. If you really want to see paper, show me your last year's W-2.
So is there any limitations or the safe act for having those conversations? Then we can talk about the loans
You're not
specifically.
supposed to, what, no, you're just verifying income at that point.
So there's no limitations of verifying income
Yeah, right,
with respect
right.
to.
It's not a loan application you're taking. You can't take a loan application.
No, I understand, but even if we have a lease application, we can have an open-ended discussion about their ability to make the monthly.
Yes,
Okay, cool.
yes. You can't quote terms, though.
No, I understand.
Mhm. So that's why I like Dodd-Frank. Well, I don't actually like that, but boy, it sure makes our life easier. What about advertising? Two federal statutes tremendously impact real estate investors, Truth in Lending and the MARS Act. Truth in Lending, each statute has a bit of a scheme to doing it. I've done a lot of securities work, so I've come to appreciate some of that. The Truth in Lending basically says that we have trigger words, such as the amount of the down payment, amount of any payment, the number of payments, the period of payments, or the amount of any finance charge. If you use that, one of those terms in your advertising, you also have to include in your ad the amount or percentage of the down payment, the terms of repayment, the annual percentage rate. Okay? If you're going to include any of them, you've got to include all of them. So what's it look like? View the ocean sunset from your doorstep. Grade 322 with pool. Recently redone, new carpet and deck, 60 grand. Not in my lifetime. 10,000 down, annual percentage rate 9%, 360 monthly payments. First 60 payments vary from, and out there, remaining payments are such and such. Okay? That will qualify. Now, a couple of things. This is a tip for perhaps some of the younger ones and maybe review for some of the older investors. Make your advertisements romantic. Okay? Everybody's ad says 322 new carpet and paint. Well, I'm excited about that one. Woohoo! Okay? View the ocean sunset from your doorstep. I mean, obviously that's something that you have, but you can find something about every house. I mean, walk to the golf course. Doesn't mean it's on the golf course, you can walk there. I'm sure somebody has at some point, not in the 107-degree heat that we're having, but you do have to be able to walk about 12 miles. So, you know, or I advertised a house in the summer. Watch your kids play in the cul-de-sac off of your huge front porch while rocking on your huge front porch. Okay? In the winter, I advertised that house. Now, the reason we did was because we got it back several times. That was really, every time I sold that, I got $10,000. That was kind of like, I'm hoping the next person, I'm hoping the people that have it now default so I can do it again. But that house was, imagine the Christmas stockings hanging by the big stone fireplace. Yes, sir.
Each time somebody defaults and you have to resell it, what are the average expense of cleaning it up and getting it ready to sell?
I don't do make ready on any of my houses,
As is.
as is.
Got it.
Okay? Now, all right, I'll tell you this. I have sold houses, one of the houses I sold here in the last 2 months, as you were walking up to this house, you could look from the ground underneath the front door, through the living room, through the kitchen, through the dining room, out to the back alley, because you could see under the door. Okay? That house also was a 3-bedroom, 1 bath. You could not put anything larger than a twin bed in one of the bedrooms. Queen would not fit. You could not put it down, so you know how small this house was. Okay? The people who rented the house for me for 5 years called me on year 3 and said, we've noticed an odor. And my boyfriend crawled under the house and noticed that the plumbing in the bathroom is not hooked up to the sewer. Do you mind if we fix it? Well, no, I like the smell, you know, go ahead. You know. She moved out and moved somewhere else, ultimately, after another 2 years of living in the house. I will tell you also that I do not have houses on the market for more than a week. You know how long that house was on the market? 16 minutes from the time we put the sign out to the time we had a contract. This was a sign in the middle of the yard. It was in a great location, in exactly how we advertised it. We put the sign up, we went inside, and the guy that I have doing my houses has a buyer's list of about 3,000. What he does is he knows where people want, he's got their information. He sent out a mass text that said, I have a house that you might want to see. Here's the address. I'll be there at 5 o'clock. First people are walking through the house, which took about 13 seconds because this was about a 900 square foot 3-bedroom.
So is it the financing on the 72 that sells the house?
Absolutely. They walked in, the first couple walked in, they're looking through the house, the second guy walked in and said, wow, I could get into this house with owner financing? Yep, I'm going home to get my checkbook. And the first couple said, we have our checkbook. Happens all the time. Now, we were going to advertise that house. We didn't get to advertise it in the newspaper. We were going to advertise that house as having great cross ventilation. Okay? But yeah, that's about what we're seeing. We're seeing time. I'm not proud to say this, but I have sold houses that didn't have drywall.
What are the prices like?
Huh?
What are your prices like? Are they competitive? Are they below the market? Or?
No, actually they're at a premium to market. They're at a premium to market because I'm offering financing. These people walked in and said, geez, Almighty, we can hang drywall or sheets or something, and you're going to let us finance this, and we've got $3,000. You know, we'll give you 30 grand for this house and pay it off over the next 30 years. And you know, well, I bought the house for 4 grand. Didn't have drywall in it. I said, well, we'll fix that up. I have no clue whether there's drywall in that house or not. It could have sheets. I don't know. But every month they pay me. Yes, sir.
So if you're turning some of the same houses over, people are probably not making the payments and you're having to get them out of the house. How long does that time take for you to be able to get them out and resell them?
About a week.
He's a lawyer.
No, that's no. I mean, and we'll talk about that now. I thought about putting it in, and I had taken it out of the presentation. First thing we do.
If you find a buyer, you're out of the deal. You collect whatever profit you get, and you're done. You don't.
That's if you assign it like a wholesale deal.
Okay.
Okay. My recommendation, though, is that what you do is you find a seller, you get it under contract with you. You then turn around and wrap it.
So you
You assume the loan of the seller.